All right. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Sam. How are you?
I am fantastic. So you have applied to an HR coordinator, administrative style role for a great client of mine here in Orlando, Florida. So you've got a really great background. You've worked
Hmm.
for some companies that I am very familiar with, and I know that they
Okay.
are fast paced. There's a lot of multitasking involved. So I'm just
Yes,
going
it
to let
is.
you take the stage and let's tell us
Okay.
what you're doing, what you've been doing most recently for work.
Yes. So my most recent position was with Iberia Bank slash First Horizon. I got hired to Iberia Bank, and at the time that I was hired, they merged with First Horizon. So I was in a position of a mortgage underwriter. It was a contracted position for about 4 months. During that time period, I had the duties of assessing, borrowers' ability to repay the loan.
Yep.
So it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of documentation that I was given the responsibility to sort through on a day-to-day basis, taking a fine-tooth comb through the credit reports, reviewing their bank statements to make sure that they have the sufficient amount of funds to close a loan, going over their pay stubs and calculating their income. So that was a very fun position. I definitely learned a lot. Prior to that, I had a lot of experience in the call center environment. I worked at Blue Green Vacations for a couple of years. My last several, I would say the last 11 months was in a quality assurance position,
Yep.
where I was given the responsibility to listen to calls and grade them based on a specific metric system that the company set forth. So I had to make sure that the calls, all of the agents were meeting, making sure that they were saying certain things and they were providing a certain level of customer service, and they were pretty much delivering the expectations that the company set forth. And prior to that, I worked at Nike as well. That was a retail position. That was also in a tourism area. So I'm very comfortable, with dealing with that. Very comfortable with dealing with people and working with a wide variety of different people,
Right.
especially working in that type of area. And then prior to that, I worked as a technical support agent at Convergys. I was there
Right.
for a couple of years. The client that I worked for at that period of time was AT&T.
Right.
So I pretty much did basic technical support if people were calling in because they needed to get, their Wi-Fi fixed, or there was an issue with their phone, or whatever the case may be. That was my task. So I definitely have customer service background. I have a technical support background. I also have a background with working with a wide variety of different documents. I'm sorry. So that's why you mentioned that, in this position, there's a lot of juggling and you really have to prioritize your time. That's something that I'm very comfortable doing, especially with my last position, with that position being remote.
Yep.
And I didn't actually work from an office. So I was given, different loans, and I was given work to do. And I would have to prioritize my time and make sure that they're completed, within the scheduled time. So,
Great. And something, with your most recent position, working in the underwriting that really stuck out to me. And again, I'm very familiar, with this company and dealing with folks' loans and having to collect, certain confidential data, everything, like you said, from their
mhm,
check stubs, going through their credit reports, hey, send me your IDs, send me this. You're constantly
yes.
having to chase required documents, which ties in. I
Hmm.
mean, I know that you don't have the direct HR experience, but they do are so very similar. So rather than collecting the
Very.
IDs and information for onboarding paperwork, you were collecting it for their mortgage loans, which I mean, in essence, is just as important that you can't skip a beat when it
Yes.
comes to someone's mortgage at all. I know when I did mine, if you had the littlest bit of information missing on your documents and forms, my underwriter was blowing up my phone going, don't forget to send
Yes.
me this, which is very similar in the HR world as far as going, get me this, get me your, direct deposit info so I can pay
Mhm.
you and, things along that sorts. So a lot of moving parts. Now, at this point in your career, what are you looking for in the next company that you work for?
I'm looking for a company that really supports its employees, a company that really has the opportunity to grow as well. I'm
Right.
at a position in my life where, I do have 3 kids. I just welcomed my third child earlier this year.
Oh, great.
So I'm definitely looking for stability and a company that has a great culture. And being in the HR department, that's the other thing that I was actually looking forward to doing, because I kind of have the opportunity to impact that somewhat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just a company that has great culture, and a company that has area to grow.
Great. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording portion of this interview and chat with you a little bit more if that sounds good.
Sure.